Right. Hello.
Just look at the size of the barrel.
And that one's a pen over there. That's a pen.
You've been cleaning out this morning, cleaning most.
Yeah, I've just been cleaning these because I've got to fill them after you've gone. Yeah, scraping together some clean barrels.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
And is that's the waste goods in there?
Yeah, it'll be the malt, the spent malt after the mash.
Does that go on fields? Is that where you take it? Who has that?
To a local farmer. Yeah.
Watch your head, Nigel. Oh, blimey, what a smell.
Smell it now, can't you?
Yeah, I can.
It's the first time I've been around the description. Is it, Ralph? Yeah.
Coming in 25 kilo bags. This is pale malt from barley, which we use the majority of.
So what do they do to this from out of the field?
Malted barley is you cut it obviously and you thrash it and get the grain same as you normally do any kind of grain, but then you spread it. This particular maltsters they spread it on the floor,
Right.
as Mick says, but then they spray it with water,
Yeah.
which induces germination,
Right.
and that produces a little shoot. And at the right time, according to what they want to use it for, they'll stop the germination by heating it,
Right.
and then they crush it,
Right.
because the heating will dry it and then they'll crush it.
It comes from barley. We've got some just the other side. It's got some wheat.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know you did that.
So those.
So what does that go into then? What does the wheat one go into?
All three of the main brews. It's
Oh, right.
predominantly this. Like, all the examples will give you, say, for Triple X is the most popular
Oh,
one.
right.
A 10 barrel of Triple X is 17 bags of this and 1 bag of that.
Right.
So then obviously it's slightly different for a Claret's Cure and it's slightly different for a 3.8. It's just different amounts. But you can see the green bags there is mild ale malt. So you've got
What makes you different to others? Is it so? I mean, in Burton, the water is going to be different.
I think the water's got to have something to do with it, but it's just like different malts and
It's like different cooking recipes, isn't it?
exactly, yeah. The malt and hops are probably the most expensive.
Are they?
We get our water from the mains, and when you think for a 10 barrel brew, which is 360 gallons, we use about 600 gallons of water. So that's probably quite expensive as well. You know, when we're brewed probably an average of 3 times a week, you know, 1,800 gallons of water.
That's quite a significant cost, isn't it?
Yeah, and the trouble is that there's only 600 gallons, there's only 360. We can kind of get money back on it because that goes to make the beer, as it were. The rest of it is you lose a bit in evaporation, but you lose a lot of it cleaning down,
Yeah.
Mm.
and that literally does go down the drain.
Yeah. Straight out the top.
Yeah.
What do you do then? Do you hoist it all up through that door?
Yeah, we just got one of these bags, you know, builder's type bag, and just hoist it up.
Ah, yeah, yeah.
Unfortunately, it's only got an 80 kilo limit, and these are 25, so it's 3 at a time.
Yeah.
No, I
And we
see.
put 130 up the other day, and it took about 3 hours.
You fit?
Yeah. Well, this whole building keeps you fit. I mean, when you're brewing, you're up and down these stairs
Yeah.
all day. But anyway,
Let's see the
first thing we
wheat
do is load up the hopper. It's the mash, first part of the brewing process. you've got the hopper there where I've just shown you where all the malt's put. And then it drops down into this, which is called the mash tun, which we mix with water at the same time. That only takes about 10 minutes to do, but then we leave it for 2 hours. And it's during that time the hot water, which is, say, roughly about 75 degrees centigrade, will release all the fermentable sugars from the malt. And as you say, this one, we put these blankets on to keep the heat and water in, but there you are, there's one that's mashing as we speak.
Goodness gracious.
So that'll be coming out roughly, I think it's about midday, is it?
It's like porridge, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's like rabbit food.
So yeah, it's left there for 2 hours.
Yeah.
That's just to keep the walls in there. And then what we do then is drain off the liquid, which is called wort at this point, W-O-R-T. And then somebody has to climb in here, physically climb in here, and shovel it out into that hopper there, and that down the auger.
So how deep is this then? Does this go down below this floor?
No, it's only to the floor. It's only the floor deep, yeah. Yeah, so
I see. You should.
it goes down the auger, and then out and
So,
shoot into
so you release the wort out first,
Yeah, go
and then
bottom, yeah. It's just spent 2 hours soaking in water, as I say, about 74 degrees centigrade. And it's average, say 3x again, there's about half a tonne of dry malt going in there. Imagine what it weighs wet.
Yeah.
It's not the best job in the world.
No.
So, but yeah, next job is when we drain that wort off. Looking now, simple method. We'll just drain the wort off. Come through, just tap off. Come to that point there. Down into it. As we drain it off, is where we have the hops. Excuse me. We have the hops in 2 stages. The first stage is where we put the predominant amount of the hops in, and that provides the bitter taste. And we have those when we're running the wort officer there. Once it's all in there, we close the lid and then we set it to boil. It takes about an hour and a quarter, hour and 20 minutes to come to the boil, and then we boil it for 2 hours again, same as the mat.
What's the point of the actual boiling process then? What does that do then really?
It releases all the oils from the hops, yeah, and that's what gives you that bitter taste.
Yeah.
And then about 5 minutes before the end of the boil, we add a few more hops, and that gives it the aroma, because all the aroma will have been boiled out of the original hop, just to give you that. And then it comes to the end of the boil after the 2 hours, and then we leave it for 1 hour just to kind of calm down. If you know what I mean. And then the next part, and this is where electricity comes into play here. We do actually transfer it by pump rather than gravity at this point.
Goodness gracious.
Fermenting vessels.
Goodness gracious.
These are the original ones we have. This copper one is actually, as you can see, is a customer's and excise plate from 1880. And then when Bill and John bought the brewery about 5 years ago, they added these 3 ones. And then in January, February, we had these 3 to increase our capacity. We put the wort in, and at this point, it's very, very strong, shall we say. The gravity is quite high. So first thing we do is add water to bring it down to the gravity we want to reach the ABV we require. For instance, Triple X, we work from a gravity of 1049. When it originally goes in here, it can be as high as 1083, 1084, which would make a very strong if we left it like that. So we add water to it, bring it down to the 1049, and then we add the yeast, and that obviously acts as a catalyst to ferment those fermentable sugars to actually ferment into alcohol.
So it'd be triple X extra if you didn't do that.
It would be Triple X very extra, yeah.
How long is it left to ferment?
1 week.
Just 1 week?
Yeah, 1 week. I think this is the one. Yeah, this is one we did on Tuesday. You can see how the yeast has worked and risen, and then as it settled down.
I recognise that in the smell from my own home brewing.
Yeah.
I was never successful with bitter lagers or like that.
Yeah.
That's the process.
I don't think I'm going to get any footage here, but I'll have a look anyway. Ooh, it's sticky, isn't it?
Bottom.
You can see where the yeast has risen up, and what happens is during the first 30 seconds, that's where he does his most rigorous. As you can see, it's calmed down now.
Yeah,
well, the equivalent of 40 9-gallon barrels that will produce.
But you say it goes down to 10.49 or whatever it was.
Yeah,
Do you bring it down
we
to
bring it down to 10,
put more
10.
water in, do you?
No, it ferments.
It just goes down to that?
It goes down, yeah. So
So
that started at 10.49. I haven't done a reading today, but yesterday it come down to 41.2. Starts at 49 or 48.9 in this case. It's down to 41 today. It'll probably be down to below 30. Just dip that in, and then we've got hydrometers in the cupboard there. Just hydrometers, and just that's how we test it. And then after 7 days, it's supposed to come down to about 10 mark, and then we transfer it to the barrel. Yeah, ideally you brew it one day, it goes into the barrels a week later, we sell it to the customer the week after that.
So to ferment a beer from scratch takes about 2.5 weeks, does it?
Yeah, you do get secondary fermentation in the actual barrel. If we're brewing today, it would probably be going out to the customer 2 weeks today. By the time he actually sells it to the customer,
It'll be about 3
ideally,
weeks.
3 weeks would be the ideal time out.
Yeah.
So he's had time to mature in the cask. And then after that, I mean, once a cask's open, it's best drunk within about 3 days. But as for the actual time life of the beer itself when it's unopened, it varies. I mean, the weaker beers tend to go off quickly. The yeast working it can go up to about 23, 24. We don't like it to go above 24 because it can put a little haze on the beer. So we like to keep it between 18 and 24. But then before we put it into the barrels, we have to cool it down to about 10 degrees. So they've got plates built into the walls.
It's like the opposite of
reverse.
central heating, really.
Well,
isn't it?
basically, yes.
Yeah.
But we do it gradually, so because if you do it too quickly, it'll kill off the yeast, which will taint the beer. So we want it slowly over 3 or 4 days. We add some finings to this. It's got
That's
finings added.
Fish stuff, isn't it?
Yeah. And we add it to the actual vessel, and then we leave it for 40 minutes, and that will kind of any suspended yeast in the.
Does it take the finings out as well, or does the finings remain in the beer?
No, that will stay with the.
It stays out?
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. Oh,
Because we also add some to the barrels themselves. So we've done that, and then we connect the hose to there or wherever, to that one there,
yeah.
and then we go downstairs again.
Right. Off you go.
Now you can see from that valve it comes along here to there, and it's like a simple gun, as we call it, like that. In the case of these are clean barrels, we take that off and then fill it. Simple as that, really. The vast majority go out in 9s, vast majority. You got the odd one who will take an 18, the occasional one, and the 36 is the big barrels, they only go to the tons here. And the little pins,
And what's in those?
4.5.
4.5.
Yeah.
So when the landlords get them at the other end, what do they do with them? They keep them for a while, is it?
Well, yeah, they keep it, well, at least 2 or 3 days there. They put it on the stillage.
What does that allow the beer to do?
Just to settle down, yeah.
Make sure anything that's not finished.
Because it's got finings in there, and with the delivery, it's churned all up, so you've got all the yeast. And then they put it on the stainless stillage like this one. And then you take the top and let it start breathing. And then all the yeast will drop to the bottom. And then you put a tap in there, and obviously draw off the good stuff. What we do is bright beer, where look, if you took a 9 of this home, you'd have to go through the process of 2 or 3 days, etc. But Dick Ballard, who's the joint master of the local hunt, he does a few outside bars. and you might not have access, but you might have access just that night. So what we do, we settle it here and
Yeah.
then run off the decent stuff, so we can take it to wherever and start using it straight away.
So it does take 3 days
Yeah,
to
so-
let the air
yeah,
in,
so I've done that, and he's coming what 4:30 on.
and he
Saturday
picks up the
afternoon.
beer when it's all settled.
Yeah, all settled. I'll draw off the good stuff into a fresh barrel, and he can take that and use it straight away.